Hello and welcome to another video from fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. Today I'm joined by Mark, who's going to take us through his decision to take an early wildcard and also find out what players he's picked. Mark, welcome.
Hello Joe, how are you?
I'm
You
good.
alright?
I'm good. I bet you're looking forward to this. Some of the
Kind
long,
of, we'll see.
some long-standing Scoutcast viewers will remember exactly this time last year you presented your wildcard team to the Scoutcast crew.
Was it Gameweek 3? I thought it was 4. I
Game
think
week
it was
four,
4.
yes, okay, a little bit later, and yes, it wasn't. It didn't go down too well with us, but we're hoping this one might be a little bit better. But yeah, first of all, and we've got up on the screen here is your Game Week 2 side. So I think it'd be quite good to go through really some of the players you want to ditch and some of your reasons why wildcarding now.
Okay, this is painful to go through my old team, but yes, I guess I have to. Yeah, well, I mean, I made some decisions initially, which obviously backfired. I had and when we did the first video, remember I had Mane in my midfield, and I switched into Sanchez, which was obviously an error. I wasn't to know he wasn't going to turn up at Brighton. Nobody really saw that. We still don't really understand what happened there. Obviously, I didn't go a big striker up front. I wanted to get a bit of time and have a look at how City were going to set up, whether Jesus is going to be a factor, I wanted to know which City midfielders to go for. So I kind of was wary about plumping for Aguero early on. Wanted to kind of have a bit of time. I always planned to get a big striker around now. It was going to be Aubameyang, but we'll talk about that later. So I didn't go Aguero, I didn't go Mane, and perhaps I shouldn't have gone Van Dijk. I should have got Robertson, but yeah, that's a toss-up. We'll talk about that another time. I put some stock in Jota, which didn't come off. Mahrez, which obviously we know now that City midfield is going to rotate a lot heavier than we expected. And Arnautovic and Zaha did okay, but Arnautovic seems like Chigarito started up front, so Arnautovic is playing a bit more withdrawn. Same with Zaha, seems to be playing out wide a bit more than I expected, with Benteke spearheading. So there was a few things, but of course, at this stage in the season as well, the market it was surprisingly volatile. A lot of players going up, a lot of players going down, and so I think you have to make a decision whether or not you're going to stick and just ride that out, or whether you're going to try and preserve team value and not let players get away from you. And in the end, I think, if I'd have had Aguero and just 4 or 5 problems, I would have kept it as it is. But not having Aguero and having the same 4 or 5 issues, and with prices moving, I just felt it's the right thing to do. I was bottom of the Mods and Cons League as well. I mean, come on. What if you're bottom of your mini league? Surely that's the reason to play wildcard.
So, I mean, also the key reasons really is you didn't have Aguero. He was obviously the key man. Those who captained him got 40 points. Those who just owned him got 20 points. Already, you had 20 to 40 points down on many of your rivals there. And also those price changes. Now, this time last year, this is exactly the same thing happened, really. You were looking at those price falls and those price rises. So do you think that for players like yourself, do you think that's going to continue after each season? Because it does look like around game week 3 and 4, things are a bit settled and people go, right, I'm going to make some moves here. So do you think that might happen every year, or do you think you might last beyond game week 3 or 4 with your wildcard?
I like playing it early in a way because it gets out of the way. I didn't plan to play it this early, but of course I think with Aguero doing what he did, and just to say as well, we talked about it early on the last video we did, that the season started with the template players, or a lot of the template players, delivering, and Aguero kept that up. He did exactly what he stuck to the script, didn't he? Delivered the hat-trick, which is one of the things we talked about in the video. You said there was a danger of that, and of course there was, and lo and behold, he did it. So it's been quite a strange first 2 game weeks. In the I saw a lot of people online going, game week 1 proves you should go your own way. I actually think the first 2 game weeks have proved that a lot of the advice out there, not only on Scout but on Twitter and elsewhere, has actually done pretty well for people, because a lot of the template players, Richarlison, Mendy, Robertson, they've just delivered, and Aguero did it as well. So I think the very nature of the fact that we've just come off the back of Aguero haul, a big one, that has pushed everyone to market, and it has made this game week in particular made a lot of price changes. Now, I don't think that'll happen every season. I don't think it necessarily will happen in game weeks 3 or 4. It depends what happens this weekend. I think when I played the wildcard last year, the market was quite slow over the international break, surprisingly so. And one of the reasons I played it was I thought I would be able to play a bit of the market. It didn't really work out. This week, I think it's been quite volatile. A lot of players going down. So I think I'm happy that the market has kind of done what I expected with the wildcard active, and I think if I hadn't have played it, I'd have, I think the swing would be close to 1 million for me because Aguero's gone up 0.2. I think that players like Mendy's gone up, of course, and I think Mahrez has gone down already. Yotta's going to go down twice. King's gone down. And across the board, I would have lost quite a bit of cash, and players that I might want would just get away a bit further. So I think I feel happy with how the market's behaved for me in that respect.
I mean, because I'm a big advocate of points, not pounds. And just before we come to your teams, I will say we've got actually 2 teams that you're considering. Before we come to your new players, I just want to say, now I had a look at your team. I kind of imagined myself in your position, and I didn't for one second think of wildcarding. I looked at that team. I actually looked at positives. So I looked at Fabianski, Foster. I think you've got a great rotation there still. And Foster, you've had 2 game weeks. You've had 1 clean sheet from that rotation. That's not bad. 50% success rate. Mendy, fantastic purchase. Great, he's staying. Hopefully, I presume. Adam Smith, fine. Okay, he's no Steve Cook, but nevertheless, Bournemouth, great fixtures. He's cheap. Van Dijk, great home defence, and arguably their linchpin. I'm sure more bonus and even a goal or 2 are going to come from him. Salah, obviously key man. Richarlison, great move. You got Richarlison in straight from the off. See, I'm full of positives about this. Arnautovic, he's on penalties now. He's wrestled them from Mark Noble, and he's a great player, I think, and he can turn it on against anyone. Mahrez, I actually think that Mahrez for game week 3 is a great purchase. Same reason I think Sterling is as well. I think both of them are going to get a game because they had their rest in game week 2. Zaha, amazing fixtures, and I still think he's the key man, although I do have concerns about his lack of bonus. Tompkins, you had there, great attacking threat, great fixtures. And obviously Wan-Bissaka as well, missing for that game, fine, 4 million. I think it's really good. Sanchez is the problem, King possibly, Jota, they're the dodgy ones. What I would have done is 2 free transfers, Sanchez and King out, for Fraser at Bournemouth to tap into those key Bournemouth fixtures. I actually think he's the best attacking option at the moment for Bournemouth, as an enabler for Aguero, so you get Aguero in there, sorted, no hit, 2 free transfers. The following week, take out Mahrez and Jota for a hit, so there's 1 hit in 2 weeks. You get Hazard in, or Mane if you want, but I prefer Hazard, I think, and then a magic bean, some cheap midfielder, and then that gives you a kind of a flexible 4-4-2, 4-3-3, 3-4-3 with just 1 hit, and you've got your wildcard for when Kane bags his hat-trick next month, and everyone's wildcarding to get him in.
Yeah,
That's what I would have done.
Obviously, I looked at options, and I looked at obviously Aguero was the trigger because I knew he was going to go up by quite a bit. I don't think it will go up 3, but he's gone up 2 already. And it was just not only Aguero, and then 4 or 5. I think we kind of know enough now about the way things are set up. I mean, I looked at it and thought, well, the City midfield for now, apart from Bernardo Silva, unless you're comfortable going Bernardo Silva, that's really in flux. So I just don't see me going for a City midfielder long term. So I knew that if I was going to go 3 City, which you kind of have to, I guess, that I was probably going to go 2 at the back and Aguero, because that looks to be the optimum setup.
Well, let's have a look at. I was going to say, I mean,
let me just continue on that, because I mean, so that kind of decided how I was going to spend my City players, and I wanted to get that in place as quickly as possible. And it was Mane, of course, as well. There was kind of drive to get him. I regretted not doing that, and I might end up without him actually. But I don't know. I just think as well, Wilson and Mitrovic was the player that I wanted at the start of the season. I didn't go for him, and he started really strongly. He's only got 1 goal, but he looks the part, and I think that he's going to be decent. And Wilson's done this to us before, of course. Started really well, got injured, or then dropped in form. But I wanted Mitrovic and Wilson. I thought they offer good value, so that was enough to kind of push me to kind of have doubts.
Well, let's have a look at this one of the teams that you're looking at then. So this is the team which are called the Hazard team.
This is the slightly more maverick one.
This is the slightly more maverick one. So obviously I can see what you've done here. You've got rid of a lot of those players that we spoke about. Those key ones like Sanchez and Mahrez and Jota. And you've already spoken about Mitrovic and Wilson, Aguero naturally. Hazard is there. I think that's a really important purchase, unless he goes to Real Madrid midweek, in which case it's awful. But that would because you're setting him up for home games against Bournemouth, who he loves to score against, and then the following week Cardiff. So I think he's going to score against Bournemouth. I think his price is going to rocket, and then you've got him in for the Cardiff game as well, and you've got him cheaper than everyone else. I like that move. Take us through some of the others though. You've a lot of change at the back, and you've got some nice magic beans there as well.
Well, I don't think it's too many, and I think that I'm just decided if you're not going to go Mane, I think you've got to go 2 Liverpool defenders, because I think that obviously Salah's a given. I tried a non-Salah deal, but wasn't happy with him. I wasn't convinced that the extra cash that you get from Salah to Mane, I could use it wisely enough. It wasn't enough to upgrade to 2 big hitters up front for me. So I left Salah in there. Obviously, Mane is in another build we'll look at in a moment. But when you play your wildcard, you kind of want to get... You've got a choice. You either go with all the template players, which is in the lineup we're about to show next, or you try and take a risk on getting on early with players that you think are going to fly. And obviously Hazard fits that bill because of the fixtures, like you say. At the back, I think once you decide that I wasn't going to have Mane, I need to get 2 Liverpool players at the back because I think they're going to be the strongest defence with City. So I've doubled up on both of the defences. I think you look at it and think, Ederson, Mendy, Van Dijk are probably going to play more or less every game, which you can't say that about any of the City midfield. And Van Dijk, Alexander-Arnold and Robertson could rotate, which is why I've gone 4 at the back with Wan-Bissaka with the option then that Hall's got a spare defender that hopefully will play. So Alexander-Arnold, I think, will get rotated around Europe. Robertson might. I think he's less likely, but I think Alexander is a risk, but I'm willing to take it because he's got a bit of attacking threat. And he's 5 million, of course, so he's a lot cheaper. So it's really about once you decided what you're going to do with your City and Liverpool players. I think it makes sense to have 3 of them. And at the moment, I would say I'm putting that in defence right now. I'm wary of Liverpool's fixtures as well, though. I mean, they might concede goals in the fixtures they got, and Mane might dry up a bit. So I'm kind of gambling that Hazard outscores Mane here over the fixtures over the next 4 or 5. Fixtures suggest that could happen, but Mane's just one of those players that's so unpredictable. So I'm wary of going without Mane here because I know that obviously the tide is going that way and his ownership is scary, of course.
I mean, you've got Alonso there. Now can't argue with that. Alonso has defied a lot of our doubts. Really, moved to fullback. Well, if anything, it's made him more attacking. I don't know whether it's annoyed him that he's got to play fullback, not wingback, but whatever he's doing, he's still the winger that he always was. That looks like you've got a nice key core of 3 defenders there that are awesome. Let's put it that way. So you've got Van Dijk, Alonso, Mendy, and then you can move those around there. I mean, one of my slight concerns about this one is Arsenal. Looking at there, they've got the great fixture run. So Aubameyang could be getting a hat-trick next week. What happens then? Then there's Mkhitaryan, he could be racking up the assists for him. And then there's also Spurs coverage and Kane or Ali, and just wonder where they're... But I noticed you've got... talking... This time last year, I christened some of your cheaper picks as magic beans because you were very excited, like Jack. Swap the very pricey cow and then come back clutching these beans like Trent Alexander-Arnold and Loftus-Cheek, who ended up being not a beanstalk there. But I've actually got Guendouzi there, who some people know he's a 19-year-old. He's a professional David Luiz impressionist, as well as a footballer. He's incredibly had 52 senior appearances for Laurent B and Laurent in France, but no goals, and 2 goals at under 19 and 20 level for France. So he's a classic magic bean. Why have you gone for him and not say Stevens, for example?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's sensible to go Stevens, I guess, because he's going to be in for the season. And you're never going to look to play this 5th midfielder. He's probably going to be my 3rd sub. I think it's just, you put a player in like this and hope that he catches. And he's been Arsenal's best player for the first 2 games, so he has taken everyone by surprise. I may well change in Stevens. It's just, that's a boring pick, isn't it? I just thought I'll put Guendouzi in, monitor him. I think that it's very likely that Alexander-Arnold will be downgraded when Liverpool's fixtures stiffen, and I might go to, a 3-4-3 on a regular basis, and that will mean that I'll have to strengthen that, like Guendouzi. Probably have to.
Because you've got Kearney in there as well. He's dipped down to 4.9. So you've got this double pivot of magic beans like the same time last year, and that didn't work out. Why do you think it's going to work out this time?
I like Kearney. I'm surprised he's gone down. I think people, obviously been impatient with him. Obviously, I don't really know what's driven to sell your 5 million midfielder, but I like Fulham. I think Fulham have played Palace And Spurs too, very good defences actually. Palace defence doesn't get a lot of credit, but actually if you look at the last 6 of last season, they were really strong and they've started strongly. And Fulham have actually played well against Spurs and Palace. I think they've created chances and been unlucky to only get 1 goal. So I actually think of the promoted teams, they look the most promising at the moment. That's not difficult because Cardiff and Wolves have been dreadful. So I think Kenny's a decent option at 5 million. I like Brooks as well at Bournemouth. I looked at him, can't quite afford him, but if he was 4.9, I probably would go there. So, I mean, he might swap out at this late stage. I've put him in at the moment because he went down last night, and I'm quite comfortable having him because I think his link with Mitrovic is kind of nice, and he's already looked quite likely to chip in with a few assists. But again, not likely I'm going to play him. Hopefully, most weeks it will be 4 at the back at the moment. Whether it be Alexander-Arnold long term, I don't know. We'll have to see what happens around Europe and what Klopp does with rotation. I really wanted to get Sessegnon in. I really like Sessegnon. I think Sessegnon and Mitrovic as a pairing are going to do well for Fulham and well for FPL managers brave enough to get them both. But I don't know. I don't think I've had builds of him in, but I just don't think I'm going to end up with him come tomorrow, which is a shame. So Kearney's kind of helping me get over that Sessegnon crush.
I mean, bearing in mind you drop your wildcard cow, for some magic beans quicker than Jack himself when it comes to Aguero's hat-trick. So what happens? Here's the scenario. Kane, in September, a couple of game weeks' time, scores his first hat-trick of the season. What happens then? How do you get him in? Or do you?
Well, how does anyone get him in? I mean, he's 12.5,
Well, they get him in with a wild card.
Yeah, possibly.
But
but then you get it easy. You can have Kane. I mean, I could put Kane in now, but it would weaken several areas of the team. So, and you can't have Aguero and Kane and Salah. So, I mean, that's going to be very difficult for anyone to build. You can, but you'll be difficult to build the likes of Alonso, Mendy, and a Liverpool defender in there. And I just think at the moment it's very hard to look at defences. It's a shame that Spurs have got a run of away games because I think Spurs are a good defence in the making. Arsenal could be. Chelsea seem to be shaking at the back. United, we don't know who to start. So at the moment, Liverpool City are hands down the best defences for me. And you can get Wan-Bissaka for Palace, so you're not going to go Van Aanholt necessarily. So I think at the back, you're always going to want a Liverpool defender and Mendy, and then you're always going to want Salah, and you're always probably going to want Aguero unless rotation kicks in. So getting Kane for anybody is going to be tough. We're going to have to lose Aguero, aren't we, if we're going to want Kane, or we lose Salah and go really maverick. So I think even those playing their wild card are going to have a difficult situation if Kane does explode as expected.
Well, no, that's interesting because this is different to this season because we've got a 13 million, not a 9.5 or 9 million Salah. So it's big difference this season. So about this time last season, suddenly everyone wanted Kane. He was starting to pop in the goals. So this season, what you're saying is the likelihood is that people are going to be faced with that tough choice. Get Kane, you've got to dump one of Salah and Aguero, or get all three, and then the rest of your team's going to be full of Guendouzi. So that's that is interesting because that's.
Well, I think your defences. I think you're going to have to go.
It's a reasonable prediction, yeah. Yeah, I think that's quite a reasonable prediction. So, well, this is the Hazard team. So let's have a look at the template team. Obviously, as a Dullard manager myself, this is far more warms to me. Nevertheless, you still got this few magic beans in there, but you've really pepped up your midfield. Mkhitaryan's gone in there. You've gone for Mane and Salah as well, and you've lightened up a bit at the back. So tell us about some of the thinking of this one.
Yeah, I mean, this is to cover the Arsenal thing. Obviously, I'm wary of the Arsenal fixtures. The reason why, Aubameyang, I think Lacazette's going to start at the weekend. Yeah. So I think Aubameyang will move left. And, of course, we've seen him be effective in that position before, so that's not necessarily bad news. But if I was spending 11 on Aubameyang, I'd want him playing up front every game, really, not out on the left. And I'm, it's a new manager, so who knows if he's going to be just as effective on the left-hand side as he was under Wenger. So I'm a little bit wary of Aubameyang just yet, because the Lacazette being a factor in home matches. And I don't want to spend 11 million on a striker who every home game against an easy opponent could get stuck out on the left. And equally, I just don't know what Emery's going to do, because if he does play Lacazette and plays Aubameyang wide, does he drop Ozil? I just don't see he's got Ramsey to come in as well. I'm still got question marks around Emery's likely team sheet, and Mkhitaryan has played 90 minutes in both games, shouldn't get dropped, but I just want to see what happens. Again, it's being wary of without having too much data at this point on what he's going to do with his team sheets against an easy opponent. He's played two very difficult teams, so it's been difficult to read much into Arsenal so far. They could fly and get 4 or 5 against West Ham. And just as I was sitting here about Aguero going, oh yeah, Aubameyang could do that, he could do it and punish me. But I just think that we still need to know a bit more about Emery and Arsenal. So Mkhitaryan's in this team as a way of kind of safeguarding that. But I like the idea of going Hazard mainly because, you know, obviously he started well, even though he's come off the bench twice, and Chelsea have got outstanding fixtures. And arguably, yeah, a lot of us are going to be looking at Hazard if he delivers at Newcastle because of the next 2 home games. But it's a risk not going out Mane, of course, who's absolutely stellar at the moment.
And now you're going to have to help me out here because you've got a defender there from Huddersfield. And I'm obviously well known for my mispronunciations. You've really pulled out all the stops with this one. So how do we pronounce him? And
Haddad, I think. Haddad. He's only in there because I'm a little bit worried about Alexander-Arnold because he hasn't started the season particularly well, according to a lot of Liverpool fans, and a lot of Liverpool fans calling for Klein to get his chance. So I'm just safeguarding because obviously I'm going to start. If I went with this lineup, I'd go Mendy, Alexander-Arnold, Alonso. But if Alexander-Arnold doesn't turn up, Wan-Bissaka suspended, I need a 5th defender who could do me something. And I think Hazard and Edge against Cardiff is a good fixture. So he's kind of a safety net in case Klein gets the start. I don't think that'll happen, but it's a worry. I don't want to play the wild card and then end up with 2 defenders. That would be absolutely disastrous. So I'd ideally would go for Bennett at Wolves at 4 million, but of course he's up against Man City. So you can see the scenario where Alexander-Arnold doesn't start, Bennett comes in and City wins 7-0 and I lose some points. So that would be embarrassing as well. So Hazard and Edge is just there to save the embarrassment if I go with this build, really. Because I just think that Alexander-Arnold at the moment could be under threat. I think that Klopp said that he didn't think Robertson or Alexander-Arnold played very well at Palace, which is a bit harsh on Robertson, I thought he did all right. So I think there's a slight risk that Trent might not start the Brighton game, but I'd hope so.
Yeah, I mean, one of the reasons I prefer this one, except for the big Hazard, the Hazard-shaped hole in it. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Hazard with his fixtures coming up, but I just think the balance looks slightly better with this one. You've got 4 good midfielders you can play every week. You've got a reasonable front line. I'm still not convinced on Wilson. I think he might be slightly a short-term pick there, but you can always downgrade him to Ings, I would imagine. But I like having, because you've got Wan-Bissaka there, who's a gift from the gods because he's 4 million and he's good. Missing this week, but fine. I think having a 4.5 one, I'd kind of, if I was wildcarding and you had your teams, I think I kind of like a mixture of the two, where you've got the Hazard one and you've maybe downgraded one of the Liverpool ones to a cheaper defender, and then look to beef up. It's Kearney and Guendouzi together just doesn't sit quite right for me.
No,
I can see
I don't like that, but it's interesting. I've seen like Red Lightning, who's top of the mods, and Cons has done this. He's got 2 budget midfielders and a strong back 4. He's got the Mendy Walker double up at the back, and it's worked for him. I look at his team and it's outstanding. He's got everything right at the start of the season. Mane, Richarlison, Salah is
top 1,000, isn't he? Top 1,000.
Yeah, unbelievable start, and he just made every decision correct to start with. You know, going 2 City defenders from the start. I just looked at Mahrez or Bernardo Silva, of course, and thought, well, I've got to have one of those 2, and he didn't fall into that trap. I'm not that Bernardo Silva's turned out to be a trap, but you know what I mean. I think we going forward, I think we look at the City midfield and we're going to be worried every time the team sheet comes out. Whereas I think Walker's probably had his rest. I don't think that's going to be a regular thing. Maybe it will, but I think just Red Lightning started the season very well. So he's set up with those 2 cheap midfielders. So I don't think it's something to be necessarily scared of, because I think the long term will be I'll shift Alexander-Arnold out if I go with that build and beef it up slightly. But I know what you mean. Yeah, I'm looking at the balance of it, and it's you always wear it going forward at the back any time in the season, and just at the moment it looks okay because of the way that City and Liverpool have started, and the fixtures for City are outstanding, of course. So having 2 of their defenders will make up for not having one of the midfielders who flies. Who knows who that midfielder is going to be? Like you said, Mahrez and Sterling will do it this week, perhaps. Then next week, it's anyone's guess. I don't think we've got a consistent starter in that City midfield other than Bernardo Silva. And, I think at the moment people are going Mkhitaryan over him right now for those who are wildcarding.
Yeah, so I mean, just finally, really, to wrap up, it sounds like the Hazard one appeals to you more. It sounds like you're happy with that kind of double magic bean pivot, because it has been successful so far. Just to, kind of any final changes that you think you might make, any other players that you're really desperate to get in and you think could change? Because obviously we don't want to give the impression that this is your final team, or the Hazard one is.
I can tell you what's fairly, the front three will stay the same. I mean, Ings I flirted with, and I might look at some configurations of getting Ings in for perhaps Wilson. I do think Wilson looks so strong though, and yeah, he's fooled us before many times. He's quite a troll really, because he looks like he's got the makings of a 15 to 20 goal striker for a lower level team. And again, he's doing it again. He's looking like, oh yeah, he could get 15 goals for Bournemouth, because they were quite an attacking team. And they've started strongly, of course, and the fixtures remain good. But I'm pretty sold on that front three. And Ederson, the reason why I've gone Ederson is because I think that, if City's defence, I mean, he's hardly going to get a test. He's not going to get the bonus points which De Gea got. But if you're looking for a regular clean sheet out of the City defence, and you've already got Mendy, then Ederson's the next best, I would say, unless you're going to stretch to Walker. So I'm quite happy with him. I've tried the Hennessy-Fabry build. I like that as a combination, because I just think Hennessy looks to have nailed the Palace spot, and Palace defensively look very strong, and he gets saves, and of course Fabry's very good on saves as well. So Fabry Hennessy I'm toying with as a way of freeing up some cash, so that could change. And do I stick with Van Dijk? The reason why I got Van Dijk is Brighton don't have Dunk, and already, well, we don't think Dunk will start. He's got the injury, and already they're conceding chances from set pieces. So I can see me going Robertson and then Van Dijk punishing me. So I just don't want to do that. I think.
While we've been talking, I've put up your Game Week 2 side, and this is a bit, who from the players that you've dumped do you fear the most?
Well, I think Mahrez could come in. I think King could come in over Wilson this week, of course. I don't think elsewhere. I don't think it'll punish me. Sanchez could turn up. Of course, Sanchez. Who knows? There, it's really strange. I'm not wary of that. Of course, I didn't have to play the wild card. I know a lot of people have. A lot of people have played the wild card with many more points than me, and with better teams than me. And Villaronca's one of them. I find it odd. So something's going on. I think like a player like Villaronca's obviously seen an opportunity somewhere. Maybe it's Hazard. Maybe it's Aubameyang. Maybe he's going free Arsenal or something. So I know that this is obviously proved a popular time. So I did it out of desperation for making a terrible start and making some wrong decisions. But others have done it because obviously they see an opportunity to kind of switch their team up for some fixture swings, maybe. I don't know. So I think wildcarders could get punished, but I'm quite happy that I'm going to have a team that should do okay. I mean, famously, Luke was on the Scoutcasting midweek, played his wild card and didn't have a particularly strong week. So of course it can backfire, and I did it last year as well. But I think when you're bottom of the mini league and you've made wrong decisions and your players are going down in price and players that you cover are going up in price, I think it was a fairly easy decision. I just hope I don't regret it. We'll see.
Well, it sounds like there's no regrets so far, but yeah. For now, Mark, well, good luck whichever team you choose. And what we'll do as well, we'll pop these teams up on social media with the video as well.
We'll do a vote,
and we'll see who, because that might help. Because I put these polls up on Twitter sometimes, and it helped me amazingly with some decisions. So
it did. It helped you for Game Week 1. So maybe that's
so I think that's a sign not to be ignored, the FPL community. But for now, goodbye, Mark.
Thanks, Joe.